Hey, 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 it is Wednesday. It's 4:30, as close as I can get it to. And it's another drop in at the virtual water cooler. My name's Steve Wright, host of a podcast show, The One to One Thing, which explores conversations, one to one conversations in a professional context, in a personal context, and also with ourselves. And this is sort of my corner of the LinkedIn, Facebook space where I'm literally just standing around, loitering at the virtual water cooler, inviting um, friends, guests, uh, stalkers, I guess, anybody to come and join me and have a chat. This is always uh, a special time of my day. I try my best to carve this out so I can make it happen around other things. And, whether it's me just kicking off and riffing for a little bit, or whether I have three or four people join me and we have a spirited conversation, I don't know. So it's kind of an interesting space. Every week it's daunting. If anyone has been in that sort of space where you're having to show up on lives, um, I don't know if it gets any easier. The mechanics of doing it is probably more straightforward, but the sort of trepidation, the imposter syndrome, or is anyone going to show up, or will I be liked? Does anyone care? All of those things kind of kick in. But at the end of the day, I think the muscle that I'm building is the one that says, "Hey, you show up for yourself first and foremost, and if people resonate with what you're doing and want to share that part of the journey with you, then it's a beautiful thing." So I think about it, but I try not to overthink it, which is the key thing. So when it's just me kicking off a stream like this, I usually have a couple of things that are sort of top of mind. And today I had a really interesting chat with a lady that is from the UK but lives part of the time in Italy, and she was sharing just her journey into authoring books and sort of telling her story as an older lady through her fictional books. And she's written 8 or nearly 9 books now in the span of 2 years, which is an amazing feat. And also just sharing that story, and it was really exciting. It was really interesting to kind of have that conversation with the synopsis of the books. I'm probably going to read one of them, um, and just in terms of her being able to articulate through her writing some of her journey, which was really interesting. So watch out for that podcast chat dropping this week with Annie Maxine Cook, and I'm looking forward to sort of getting that show out the door. And just on recent shows, I wanted to touch base or just give another shout out to Will Otero, who was with me last week, the week before, sorry. And I didn't have a drop in event last week because I had a technical issue, started like this and then lost power. And by the time I sort of scrambled and got everything back together, the window for the drop in event had pretty much transpired. So apologies for that. But Will and I have been friends for a good couple of years now, and he's one of my sort of coaches and mentors in the podcasting space, and I really respect what he's doing and what he's building in terms of sort of a multimedia presence with podcasting, a YouTube channel, and moving into sort of the book publishing space as well. So that was really exciting just to have that chat with him. And we riffed and talked about just the love of podcasting and I guess, being out there. I guess it's not an ego thing as much as um, a release. It's an opportunity for us to do what we love, um, and share our passion and our desire for talking to interesting guests, sharing sort of our perspective on things. and just being out there. I think there's a lot to be said for that. And it was something that Annie mentioned as well in our discussion in terms of having a more gentle voice out there. We're in a world where everybody's screaming to have attention, um, and sometimes the gentle voice is overlooked, and the gentle way is often overlooked as well. So it was really refreshing to have her express that in terms of how she came to writing books and from a background in criminal psychology, which is very interesting, um, very different. And then just coming to that space where she can sort of tap into energies, the things that are around her that are important to her, and speaking to older women about sort of leaving a legacy. Everyone has a story that is definitely worth sharing. So I've checking my feeds here. I've got my buddy here, Carl Adamson. This
Hello, hang on.
this is why we do what we do.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. You're coming through my. You're
Okay,
coming through my. We, you're not coming through my headphones. Let me just change my my audio. Okay, cool. But I can hear you fine. How are you, Carl?
brilliant, brilliant. I jumped on the call so quickly and I'd forgotten to get my microphone lined up. So there you go, there you go. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And you know what? I couldn't help I couldn't help myself this morning. I had that Victoria sponge out, and it was I really couldn't help
Uh,
myself.
did you see what I wrote on your
I
post? You probably
I
didn't
haven't
see
even
it.
looked. I haven't even looked at it. I just I said
I just said, don't tell me you ate that cake with chopsticks.
no.
And anyone that knows. So,
That's only donuts, sugared
only
donuts at my desk, and that was not.
silly
Got to give
me.
it.
I mean, of course, it makes sense now.
I had to I had to give it I had to give it I had to give it some context there. Yeah, that was yeah, that was just something that was so special. I thought, oh man, I don't often have it I don't often have cake in the house like that. And
Shame on you.
yeah, and and the coffee was the I wanted, yeah, Heather's obviously coffee's her business, and
Yeah.
she's a bit of a connoisseur in that space. And I've got this. I'm just finishing off this roast, this bean that my daughter in Cambodia sent. She brought with her when she visited, and it is absolutely beautiful. Great aroma, just the right strength. And I do it in the cafeteria, and get a nice pot of dark chocolatey roasty coffee, and I drink it. I like it neat. It's nice. Nice with cake though. It definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. The two were designed for each other, so that's the thing. I mean, I kind of got into coffee and cake when I met my then to be father-in-law. Being Italian, he'd drink espresso,
Mm,
but what I hadn't realised is that every time an Italian drinks coffee, they always have something nice to go with it.
yes,
Fancy
dolce,
biscuits or
dolce.
cakes.
Yeah,
And this can be like, when I first went to Italy with the family, it was like 5 times in one day, coffee and cake. But this was being invited to other people's homes. So
mm,
as soon as we got there, we were invited to all these other people's homes, and then in the morning, and then in the afternoon, they all came to us. So it's
mm,
like coffee and cake 10 times in one day. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. It was so. Ever since then, coffee and cake is like the order of the day. And
yeah,
I do it because I love it, but I also do it in honor of him because he's no longer with us. But
yeah.
it's a great thing. Do you grind your coffee, or was it
Yes.
already ground? You do.
No, I grind. I keep the beans. They keep longer, for one.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And you release the flavor as you grind. So it's just, yeah, I can control the grind. I've got a burr grinder as
Oh,
opposed to,
good. Oh, what,
yeah,
an
yeah.
electric one or hand
Electric,
one?
yeah, it's a Wilfer. It's a big, it's a big device, but
Wilfer. I've not heard. How do you spell that?
yeah, Wilfer, Wilfa. It's a
Right.
nice burr grinder. Um, and yeah, there's a guy Hoffman. There's a guy that
Oh yeah.
yeah,
James Hoffman.
James Hoffman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's the guy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Is it
yeah.
is it a flat burr or conical burr?
Conical burr.
Right. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's good for espresso coffee.
yeah,
A lot of people say, "Oh no, you've got to have a conical one for coffee,
yeah,
but that's espresso." But and then you grind it and you put it in a cafetiere.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
it's quick. It's quick. I used to fil- I used to filter. I used to filter it through like a filter paper, but
Mm.
it took longer,
Yep.
and it's finer. It's a clearer. Obviously, filters more out. It took longer, and I'm fine. I couldn't get papers that my papers would often break. So
Yeah.
um, the cafetiere is nice. And the cafetiere cake, that's a nod to Italy, because when I took my mum there in April, we were in Rome and we stayed at an Airbnb, and the guy had a couple of cafetieres, and it was just our thing in the morning to make a brew that way. He had the ground coffee already, but it was just easy.
Yeah.
You fill it up, put it on the kettle, put it on the stove, and minutes later you're ready to go.
Yeah, a lot
So
of Italians do have the pre-ground coffee because I mean it's easier,
yeah.
but they only have it in the house for like a couple of days and it's gone.
Yes.
So so it doesn't. I mean, because once you grind coffee, it starts to oxidize within minutes,
Mm,
and you leave it kind of 5 minutes, it's already gone past its best.
you're right.
It's
Right.
really quick, and a lot of people don't realize that, and they put it in the freezer or try and suck the air out of it with these little pump things you can get.
Yeah.
But if you can grind it fresh like you're doing, you
Yeah.
get, the beans do last longer. You still have to, you're supposed to store them up properly anyway.
Yeah. Keep them dark. Keep
But
them dry.
that's it. But and from away from moisture.
Yes.
But then when and what you can do as well is when you grind the beans, depending on how it comes out, you can put a little spray of water, very
Yeah.
fine mist. Do you do that as well?
Hoffman talks about that. He runs the end of a teaspoon
Yeah,
across water, so you got little drops of water on there,
that's it.
and you stir that in the beans as you grind, because it takes the static out.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes,
that's a key. So
yeah.
you
Oh, you're
understand.
well into it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, and a lot of our coffee comes from Cambodia, Vietnam. A lot of people don't realize that.
It's
Yeah,
good
it's
stuff.
big exporters,
Yeah,
huge business out there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And I've got some, and my mum bought me some Blue Mountain coffee as well. So
Mm.
I've got Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, which is good stuff as well.
But isn't that in a bag with holes in it to aerate the coffee? Because I've had it and I've noticed that the bags are kind of like, I thought, well, why aren't they pure, vacuum sealed?
Yeah.
And the ones I've seen are not. So you can squeeze them and you can smell the coffee coming out, the smell.
Oh,
Are they actually properly vacuum sealed or?
no. Well, I mean, they're store bought, so they're in a kind of a Hessian bag,
Yeah,
but the
and a
bag
blue
inside is foil, is foil
foil.
vacuum sealed.
Okay,
So
right.
and
Oh, it
and
is.
it,
Okay.
and it has to carry the label. There's
Yes.
High Mountain coffee and there's
Yep.
Blue Mountain coffee, and High Mountain coffee is the wannabe knockoff,
Yep.
which is a
Yep.
third of the
That's the own
price.
brand. Yeah.
Yeah, third of the price and tenth of the quality.
Yep.
And then Blue Mountain is a premium. She was surprised how much I spent on a bag of coffee, but it's good stuff. And I'm a 1 cup a day, pretty much 1 or 2 at a push.
Yep.
But so I do enjoy it when I drink it.
And you have it with no milk, just as it comes, do you?
I just as it comes.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling a little sweet deprived, I may put a tab of honey,
Mm.
drop of honey in there.
Honey.
Yeah.
Oh, I never tried that in coffee.
Yeah,
What,
it's just
what's
not,
that like?
it's nice, and it's not as concentrated as sugar, and it gives more of an aroma and more of a flavor.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah,
could be worth
honey,
trying. I've
yeah,
never tried it with
honey.
honey
Yeah,
because obviously it's got its own flavor, hasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, honey, and that might.
yeah.
I'll be thinking that might change the taste of the coffee. But
Yeah.
there we go. If you've
There you
got
go.
the coffee
Multi-fuel.
and the cake, what more could you want? What a
Yes,
great
I
way!
know,
Did you say you
M&S.
had that for breakfast?
Yes, I do.
Oh my word, that's more decadent than me.
I, it's not
Coffee
a.
and cake
It's.
for
I
breakfast.
try not to make it too common a thing, but I
Yeah.
definitely enjoyed it. I'm keeping an eye on any of the threads here in case anyone drops in. But yeah, it's yeah. I did that. I put the plate out, and I thought, oh man, I spoke to Annie today, Annie Cook.
Oh right, yes,
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 so that was a
yeah.
lot of fun. And then so I was thinking of Heather, and then the cake was on the table. I thought, oh, Carl, Carl,
There
God, Carl
you
would like this. So there
go.
you go. People
Yeah.
I'm grateful for.
No, well, likewise with you. We keep on catching each other on different other people's calls.
Yeah,
We've not had a chance to catch up one to one yet,
yeah.
and so last week was busy. Yesterday disappeared. I don't actually know what happened to yesterday.
Mm,
It just, and even my wife was saying, and then almost the same again today. Um, these last 2 days, so this side of the summer kind of
yeah,
solstice, the days seem to be getting shorter. It's like a day feels like 5 hours at the moment.
yeah.
But
They are
yeah,
technically shorter, but hopefully not that quickly.
no, but that's what it feels like. It's seriously thinking, well, how can it be? I mean, we didn't eat till late last night. And we're both saying, how can it be like 8 or 9 o'clock already? And
Mm,
we're both doing different things. But I guess a lot of people are feeling that way with the hot days and that we're getting here that we
yeah,
mustn't moan about. We got to be grateful for that.
yeah. Well,
So,
you're
but we,
you're a lot hotter than we are up north. It's been blustery, and yeah, I'm still under I'm still under the duvet. So
so it's business as usual up north.
yes.
Yeah. Well, we have been having your summer down here in the south of
Oh
England,
my.
and I don't know what it is today. It's 20 odd, whatever,
Yeah.
20 odd degrees, and but it's not as hot as I think a few days ago it was in the 30s
Yes.
locally, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
yeah, are you near the coast?
I am not too far from. I'm probably 4 or 5 miles from the coast, from Morecambe
Oh,
in
oh,
Manchester.
right,
So
okay.
yeah,
So do you get down there much to the seaside?
I do. I do. I've cycled down there. I've walked down there.
Mm,
And yeah, I like it. The Morecambe coastline is nice. It's seen better days. I mean, Morecambe had its sort of heyday. Um, Probably in the 30s and 40s. Something like Blackpool. Blackpool's got the tower.
yeah,
The Morecambe Bay is really nice though. I think in some ways it mirrors it. It's better. It's nicer from as a natural bay inlet. Although Blackpool's got more things on the coastline with the tower and the illuminations and fairground and stuff like that. But I do like, yeah, it's nice. And actually, if you go further up the coast, it's really nice as well towards like Ulverston and Grange over Sands. And there's the train follows the coastline closer than you can in a car because they've got tracks
yeah.
running where you don't have a motorway, and it's really nice. It's really pretty up that way just before you get to the lakes. So
Wow.
it's definitely worth a train rides up this part of this neck of the woods is really nice as well.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. Sort of always wanted to go to the lakes, never been there, and I've obviously seen it on TV. I thought, yeah, well, that'd be a good place to go for a drive, or if I still rode a bicycle, I'd do it. But a motorbike
Yeah.
would be beautiful around those
Oh
lanes.
yeah, yeah. Motorbike will get you. Yeah, It'll get you pretty quick. And I guess
Yeah,
it's kind of trying to catch the good weather without the holiday season. If you've
yeah,
got good weather outside of the busy holiday times, it's a nice place to kind of sort of say, oh, I'll just go up there. I mean, I could go up there on a whim, because I'm close enough. But holiday times, it can be pretty. It's tough to park. It's tough to get into things. It's tough to get a boat to get onto the lakes. It's everyone's doing their. Everyone's got the same idea, and then
yeah,
you end up waiting in lines for things, waiting in line for
yeah.
cake, which you don't want to do.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd bring my own.
There
Come
you go.
prepared. Yeah, flask of coffee. I'd have the cake already sliced. Well, might not bother slicing it. Just have it as it is.
There you
Have it
go.
whole.
Yeah, yeah. A
But
lot of
yeah,
campers. You could see a lot of campers, uh, the camper vans and people doing their their touring adventures.
yeah. Yeah,
It's really good.
amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I've noticed that. I thought it was at my end, but I don't think it is. With Restream, I can see that I'm delayed, or
Mm,
certainly looking at myself talking. And I've watched the replay, and that delay doesn't go away. It's still there. I thought, oh well, it'll buffer and then it will sort itself out. But it's still, that delay is still there.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it me or is it
No,
Restream?
I see it. I see it too, and I don't know um what that would be related to. I mean, I'm pretty on sync, but
You are, yeah. I can see
yeah,
you're perfect, and you always are. But I've noticed
it's
certainly,
the
and I've
host.
some of the other callers as well when they're on the call. I thought, why is it all going out of sync, but
Yeah,
yours isn't? You know, you'd
I,
expect all of it to go out of sync, but not just one part staying
right,
perfect.
because yeah, because I don't know if I wonder if it's because it's streamed or
It definitely would be, yeah.
yeah.
But so if it was say this was Riverside, obviously I know you know Riverside better than me,
Mm,
but you know that after the call it carries on uploading so that you get rid of all the sync problems and the quality issues. It
yeah.
just does it because it's going to that platform. But what I see with LinkedIn, or what I think is going on at the end of the call, that's it. The streaming has stopped. There's no more upload that can take place. So any sync problems or quality problems don't seem to get resolved on LinkedIn. That's my
Okay.
guess. I don't know if it's right, but that's what my theory is.
Let me. I will check. I will check. I'll check the feed of this one and share it with you because it's a good point. Because the Restream does have the recording of the individuals, individual audio, video, as well as the screen. So I would imagine the screen is what is streamed, but possibly the individual audio and video could be synced because it must be taking your local feed a bit like it would. Um, Most of them have sort of individual recordings going up,
Yeah.
so it may be on the recording as opposed to the stream. If the stream is what we're seeing on now is what's being streamed, but the recording may be in sync. And if that's the case, and I'll share that with you because then
Yeah,
if
I'd
you're
be interested.
repurposing content, then it should be in sync.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you're repurposing, I'm confident you'll have a fully synced and high quality video at the end from Restream. But the one that stays on LinkedIn is what happened during the stream. I'm
Yeah.
going to try it with Riverside. I'm
Mhm.
going to do a live on LinkedIn just to see how that works.
Okay. Y-
Just
Yeah.
yeah, you've not done that with Riverside, have you?
I've not done that. It's interesting because I did speak with there was a community event hosted by the community manager for Riverside, and I joined it. No, I watched the replay, and it was really good. It's talking heads. It's almost like an interview. But she had interactions on this. She had a slide deck with some interactions. People could ring in and do a live poll. Um, so there was some scene changes that she was able to do, bringing up, presenting her screen, for example, and then doing a live poll, bringing up in the lower third questions from people, a bit like we do
Oh,
here.
oh, okay.
So that was good. Although it didn't have it like this now. I've got the screen below us. I know that you're on the left of the screen. I see what I see. Unlike Zoom, you'll never know where people are on the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is a plus here. And you don't have the flexibility of branding the background or moving things around in Riverside like you do in Restream. Um,
Right.
which is neither here nor there. If it's talking heads, you're not really moving things around. But if you've got three or four people and you want to change the format, a bit like you do in Zoom, you can do it for
Yeah,
yourself. Have
yeah,
the speaker, have the side things. It's nicer in Restream to manage the look and feel of the deck or of the streamed output. And I mentioned that to them, and they said, she took it on board in terms of feedback. Um, they're getting closer. Um, I think the podcasting stuff is really coming into its own. They're they're building the video content dynamically, which is great. There's less workflow, less involvement in the workflow once you've done a show. They do the magic clips, which you need to look at because sometimes they don't break it where you expect it, but they at
Yeah.
least they start the process. You can you can sort of crop it the way you like in terms of when it starts and when it finishes, but they start it for you, which is kind of nice. And the quality, the raw video, raw audio is always good. Um,
It is.
so
Yeah, I've been playing with it to create some courses, and very impressed with it. It's
yeah,
just very, very, very good. So
yeah,
I just thought, well, rather than having lots of different tools, obviously you've got StreamYard out there, but I
hmm
think by the time you paid for StreamYard, because that's more than $30, that's about 40. Someone was saying the other day per month, just to have that. And if you're only
wow,
using StreamYard, I mean, that's what I've heard. So because they don't publish their prices on their website, you have to open an account and then you find out how much it costs, which is
oh,
kind of a bit weird. And because it's recently been taken over by another company, which I can't think of the name of them now. But yeah, so for that, so I'm going to play with that, but I'll be interested to see what you get, what you find out about, the quality on Restream, just
hmm
because I can see I'm well delayed, so I can't look at myself because I put my hand over because
gosh,
it's putting me off. 'Cause I can look at you and anyone else, but if I'm talking and I'm looking at that, it's yeah, I've got a 5 o'clock call that I have
yeah.
to join, but I thought I couldn't resist not having to go here. So having a chat with you, but we must catch up. And
Yes, yeah. Well,
yeah,
let me know. I mean, if you're just beta testing the Restream live, sorry, the Riverside live, I'd happy to jump on. Just let me know when
okay.
it's
Well,
out.
let's do that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
that that'll be a good excuse for us to have a quick chat anyway. But
yeah,
I'll sort that out, and as soon as I've got that done, then I'll come back to you.
yeah.
I've got so many things happening this week. It's just been a bit crazy, but yeah, no, it's great to see you, Steve, and
All
thank
right.
you for that post. I really did appreciate it. So,
No, you're. I'm always grateful for you, bro. All right, thanks for jumping in.
all right, see you soon.
All right,
Bye for
take
now.
care.
Bye.
Bye. So there you go. That's Carl Addison joining us here. Really appreciate him taking the time to jump on there. So that's really cool. Just switch the screens around a little bit. Um, and yeah, definitely gratitude is one of those things that is um, top of mind for me. It keeps me sane, keeps me grounded, keeps me somewhat connected and humbled. And it's something that we don't often, or we could do better at sharing. I know I'm not always the best in expressing thanks and appreciation. Sometimes we can take things and situations and people for granted, and unfortunately, as we live longer, the opportunities may sometimes slip away to actually appreciate people that are around us because they're no longer here, or their circumstances or our circumstances change, and the opportunity is missed. So definitely, I'm of the mindset that when I think about people long enough, there's a reason why I'm thinking about them, and I often do my best to reach out, and that's definitely key. But I'm, yeah, grateful for Carl, for Heather, as you mentioned in that LinkedIn post, for her uh, her passion for coffee and for coffee and connection. She's definitely someone who has been key in introducing me to a wider network, and through her weekly morning events with the Mastery series, it's been really positive to see what she's doing in that space, and the guests that she has on her podcast meetup. So a lot of fun there. But so yes, I think that's really the key thing. Gentle stories, the approach of gratitude, and oh, before I sign off here. Uh, I do want to mention my a previous post I had as well, which is a call out and an invitation. Um, I shared a post about the goal setting in the early part of this year that I went through to get my mum on her 80th birthday to Paris, and we envisioned the goal of us being on top of the Eiffel Tower on her birthday. And this was sort of crafted while she's in Jamaica, I'm in the UK, and just trying to imagine this scenario where she's visiting from the Caribbean, uh, coming to the UK, and then us going to Europe. And I applied the 12-week year approach to it. Brian Moran's book, uh, which it's just handy here, a 12-week year, and it was um, getting more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. Some people call it just a matter of taking a quarter and making it sound like a year. And yeah, that could be a very surface level look at it. But the book talks a lot about the importance of periodization and working within a period that makes sense. And the period doesn't have to be necessarily 12 weeks, and it doesn't have to coincide with a calendar year. So you're not translating quarters into years. For me, I actually did it that way. Week one of the calendar year was the January of my 12-week year, and I used the 13th week as a review week. And this week is the review week for year two. We're halfway through the year, and I'm starting year three of the 12-week year I start on Sundays, so it gives me a chance to review for the week. Um, and I'm kicking off year three, my third 12-week year, next week. And I have a dear friend and coach, Jeremy Pope, who we on our talks we mentioned the 12-week year program. He'd done it previously and wanted to have us sort of do it together, for combine our year three together, and I thought it was a great idea. And he's invited some of his network friends to create a cohort that will spend year three together. And I think it's really going to be powerful. I've set that invite out to people who want to join us. It's a very simple format, um, and it's something that we can create throughout the year together. There's certainly some key things that we want to make sure that we adhere to in terms of creating that strong vision. For me, my successful year was really centered on having a strong, compelling vision, a goal, if you like, that was going to be able to pull me through the 12-week year, so that when obstacles or challenges came up, I wasn't sort of grinding against the process as much as being pulled through it because the goal was so compelling. And my mum turning 80, and us being in Paris, and we also went to Rome, on that trip, um, was so compelling that it felt like it was going to be a done deal before it was a done deal. And I think that's really one of the key takeaways that I had for my first 12-week year. And that, I think, is one of the cornerstones of having a successful year in that sense, is that because it's a shorter timeline, the period is a little bit more compressed, then the goals can be much more succinct and much more doable within that context of the 12-week year. And then there's the blocking and tackling, as you say, in the States. When you're talking about American football, you've got to do the basics. So creating that environment, creating that mindset, and taking the appropriate actions and seeing what comes out of those appropriate actions. And I think the beauty of condensing a a calendar year into a 12-week model allows us to, one, have 4 times to do a resolution. I have 4 Christmases. I have 4 summer months. I have 4 spring months in terms of just creating and making things new and fresh. And I don't have to wait as long to get the feedback. So I think it's a useful process, exercise to go through. And I would love to have people join us on that cohort. There's no obligation other than the bit of time and a bit of attention and a willingness to be sort of accountable and an advocate. So we call that an advocountability. So if you're interested in joining us, if you're committed for the next 12 weeks to join us in our year, then please DM me with 12-week year or I'm in or let's talk. Um, I don't care what you put in the comment as long as you make it clear that you're looking to join us. We'll be kicking off on the 29th of June. That's the start of year 3. And I'll probably be sharing a bit more about the process and um, some of the things, the scaffolding for what makes a 12-week year. I'm not an expert. I'm not uh, coming at this from a teaching aspect as much as really a journey that I've been on, and the ability to have other people come along the journey with us and really just grow and learn together. So I think it'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to being accountable, being held accountable, and helping people grow towards their goals, and then seeing some transformational results within 12 weeks. Things that would typically, would put off until the end of the year. That's probably why we don't make resolutions, and that's why January 15th is the day that most resolutions that were made in the new year have fizzled out. So we can avoid that and defend against that. So please, if you want to join us, give me a shout. That would be great. On that note, I am going to cut this short. It's 37 minutes in. I normally go for an hour, but that's fine. It's just me. I'm going to give, if you're watching this on the replay, do reach out. The One to One Thing podcast is a passion of mine, and context is that we just have conversations. It's a chance to share. It's a chance to grow. It's a chance to show up authentically in a space that really shows what you do, shows what you do in the world, and a chance for us to just have a meaningful conversation beyond just the connections that we tend to um, see in social media. So that's really the remit of the show, and it's always fun. It's always a great chat, and look forward to you joining us on one of those. Reach out to me if you'd like to be a guest, and I'm also available to be a guest on other people's podcasts. So I'm happy to talk about the journey, podcasting in general, coaching, and just other things of being around long enough to know some things. So on that note, thank you for your time and attention. Always appreciate people dropping in, people listening in, people catching the replay, and I'll probably send out something with a couple of tags in there for the regular folks to catch up on this. And if you want to connect, feel free through DMs and messages to me, comments on the show. All right, thank you. This is it. This is me, Steve Wright, and I appreciate your time. And we'll see you next week, if not sooner. All right, take care.